Now, what is an atom? What is the difference between atom and molecule? Atom versus molecules we are going to discuss. Atom is the smallest part of an element which is not capable of independent existence. That means an atom cannot exist independently, though there is an exception. The atoms of noble gases are capable of independent existence. So noble gases are an exception to the path. Now, molecules. Now, molecules can exist independently. So, like an example of molecules, we have H2. H2 molecule contains 2 atoms of hydrogen. One atom of hydrogen or oxygen cannot exist independently. That means it is very reactive. It cannot exist independently. But 2 atoms combined together, 2 atoms of hydrogen can exist independently. 2 atoms of oxygen combined together can exist independently. So both of them are molecules. Now the next topic is mixture versus compound. Now, constituent particles do not lose their, in a mixture, constituent particles do not lose their individual properties. Now, I gave you an example of a mixture is hydrogen and oxygen. If I take a container filled with hydrogen gas and oxygen gas in which they have not combined chemically, so it will form a mixture. And in the mixture, you know that hydrogen is a combustible gas and oxygen is supporter of combustion, so they do not lose their individual properties. And when you bring a burning matchstick near this mixture, it will burn with a pop sound, because in presence of oxygen, hydrogen forms a detonating mixture. Now, during formation of compound, particles lose their individual properties. So, as I demonstrated that water is a compound, and you know that water is made up of both hydrogen and oxygen, and hydrogen is a combustible gas, but water is not a combustible substance. Oxygen is a supporter of combustion, but water is not a supporter of combustion. You can see that when they have combined together to form a compound, both the particles have lost their individual properties and they show a new set of properties. So this is the difference between a mixture and a compound. In mixture, the constituent particles do not lose their individual properties, while in compound, the constituent particles, they lose their individual properties and they show a new set of properties. Now, let us come to the properties of matter. Now, what are the properties of matter? There are 2 types of properties of matter: physical properties and chemical properties. So what are physical properties? Those properties of the substance which can be measured or observed without changing its identity or composition are known as physical properties, like color, odor, melting point, boiling point. Melting point, boiling point, these are physical properties of matter, and we do not need to change the composition of water while studying its melting point, or while studying its boiling point, or the odor or the color. Now, those properties of the substances which can be studied only by changing the composition of the substance, these properties can only be studied when the substance undergoes chemical change. And the examples are its composition, combustibility, reactivity. So there are 2 types of properties of the substance: physical properties and chemical properties. Physical properties can be measured or observed without bringing any change in them, while chemical properties can only be studied by bringing a chemical change. It changes the composition and the identity of the substance. That's all for today, children. Have a nice day, and kindly give me the feedback whether you were able to understand or not. We will continue